Hello, everyone. This is Tyler Harris with Rappin on Racin, and we want to welcome you to something new here on the Rappin on Racin Facebook page. Typically, whenever you think of Rappin on Racin, you know about the radio show that's been circulating the airways for over 40 years now. And if you don't listen to it on the radio, you can listen to it in from your favorite podcast platform, whether it's Apple Podcast, Google Play, Spotify, Podbean. Of course, it's on Hulu TV now as well. So if you haven't heard it yet, there's several chances for you to do that. Just search Rappin on Racin on your favorite podcast form, and of course, go to rappinonracing.com so you can hear it each and every week, Mondays at 6 p.m. But of course, if you're involved with racing, typically you've heard of this show, so we want to welcome you into something a little bit new here, like I said. What this is going to be is a series of driver interviews. Now, we're not 100% sure how often we're going to be doing this. My goal is about once a month. Maybe even try to extend that into the racing season as well. It just really just depends on how busy these drivers get, because once it's racing season, it's just so difficult. And even for us, media guys as well, we just get pretty backed up with stuff and on top of our normal everyday lives as well. So if you do like what you see in this interview, definitely let us know in the comments section. Give us a like as well. If there's anybody that you'd want to see in racing, whether they are a driver or just involved in the racing community here, let us know in the comments, and we'll see if we can't make it happen. But definitely let us know. Your interaction definitely helps us out, and it allows us to figure out what's working and what's not, and what you like and don't like. And like I said, if there's drivers that you want to see on here that you're going to be able to now put a face to by watching this, let us know in the comments, and we'll see if we can't make it happen. But I'm very thankful for Don Gamble and Dave Oliveri for giving me the reins on this. It's definitely something new, and we'll see if we can't make it work, and we'll see if we can't make it enjoyable for you, the fans, because that's what matters here. We really quickly want to thank our marketing partners, Alternative Power Sources, the Jennerstown Speedway Complex, Pittsburgh's Pennsylvania Motor Speedway, RPS Financial Services, and Thoma Meat Market. Yes, once again, just we ask for your interaction, and just let us know if you like this, and if you do, let us know what else we can do to continue to improve. But other than that, I want you guys just to sit back, relax, and enjoy. This interview is going to be with four-time Lernerville track champion AJ Flick. So, like I said, just sit back, relax, and here's my interview with the Super Deuce, AJ Flick. Hello, race fans, and thank you for tuning in to something a little bit different here on the Rappin on Racin Facebook page. Something that we've never really done before, something new, but Dawn has kind of trusted me to take the reins on this and do something a little bit different. And so here it is. So with me right now is, if you haven't seen his face before, you're seeing it now. He is the, I believe, four-time Lernerville track champion in the sprint car division. That's AJ Flick. AJ, how you doing, man?
Not bad, Tyler. This is pretty cool. First Zoom meeting for me too. So if we make some mistakes, we'll be all right. We'll get through it together.
There's a good thing called editing, and we'll make it all work.
They don't have to know.
That's right. They don't have to know. So, hey, man, it's good to see you. We see each other throughout the season, wherever it may be, and get to talk here and there. But obviously with the off season, that kind of changes up a little bit. But what have you been up to through the off season?
I'm playing some hockey, watching some hockey now that sports are back. Just kind of staying out of the weather. I'm not a big fan of the cold or the snow, but I promised my girlfriend we would eventually go snowboarding at least once. So I still have to live up to that promise. And other than that, it's just the usual, trying to get cars put together and try and make sure our notes and trailer and garage and everything's all prepared for the 2021 season, and just try and fix our mistakes from last year and come out of the gate hot.
Yeah, absolutely. Time's a ticking on that deal with your girlfriend there. It's February now.
It really is too, because I told her we would go for an entire day, which means I can only go on Saturdays and Sundays. And I only have 3 or 4 weeks left until the season starts, and it's crunch time now too. So there's a lot of other things to do. Let's hope I'm not regretting this in 4 weeks when the race season starts in March.
Well, time will tell. Now there's a timestamp on it, and everybody now knows. So,
well, to be fair, I made this promise 2 years ago, and we're still waiting for it. So,
well, better late than never.
Let's hope so. I don't want to push it off till next year, but we'll make it happen.
That's right. So let's briefly touch on your past. Obviously, you grew up in the karts. First off, third generation driver. Let's not forget that. Of course, your grandfather Pee Wee Flick raced, obviously back in the '60s, '70s, and throughout that time. And then of course your father Mark Flick, modified champion at Lernerville. So now you're the third generation driver taking over the reins. I'm sure plenty of people know that. What's it like coming from that family? Obviously that lineage. Is there any extra pressure to having to meet up to those standards?
A little bit, but I don't think it's quite the standard three generations that you usually see. My grandfather started it all, but he passed away when I was 6 months old. So I never really got to know him or his legacy. All I've heard is stories. So, I mean, I can try and live up to stories, but it's hard for me to live up to any accolades. The other thing as well is we all hit different divisions. He was in late models. My father was in modifieds, and I'm in sprint cars. So pretty much no matter what happens, we can all hit different levels of wins or different races that we've attempted to make, different competitors we've gone against. So no matter what, I mean, it's always joking and bragging rights between me and the rest of the family, just as some fun and maybe some dollar bets here and there. But there's a lot of races my dad has won that I'll never win. And there's some races I'm adding to my list that my dad's never going to win. So the one thing that was real cool is even though I think my father was a fantastic race car driver on dirt and asphalt, he never put that kind of pressure on me to be great. It was basically just, if you want to do it, you can do it. I'll help you if you need some help. But he forced me to learn as much as I can and figure out how to do it on my own. And that's the step we've come to now. So I'm relying on him, but I'm not relying on him. And he's still happy to help anytime I need it. And it's just awesome that if I screw up, he's there to tell me what to do better. And if I do something really well, he's able to give me a little bit of praise. But he never instilled that sort of pressure on me to be great or he's leaving, nothing like that. So it was just basically more or less a family thing. We were able to get into it together and just have fun together without much pressure.
Yeah. Seems to me too, he's always there to bust your chops too,
He'll bust anybody's chops, man. I mean, he'll make it about me more often than not, just to make fun of me, but I give it back to him. So
I think that's the role of the father, is to bust chops. I don't know. My dad does the same thing. So
yeah, our relationships probably wouldn't be as good as they were if it was just mellow out fathers, huh?
That's it. So it's cool that you touched on your grandfather running late model, your dad running modified, you running sprint car. Obviously, you got your start into the karts, did pretty well there, had a lot of success. Then you moved up into the pro stocks at Lernerville, and that's kind of what I wanted to touch on. Is you had to bridge that like Fab Four gap there, because not only did you run sprint cars, but you also got your start in Lernerville in the pro stock. I believe one year you actually finished second in points to, was it Joe Kelly?
Corey
McPherson.
We were like sixth or seventh the first year. And then I think the next 2 years we were like third and fourth. Joe had won a title. Mike Miller had won a title. And then the last year we were extremely consistent, but Corey was just winning all the time. He would win like 7 races to R2. And even if he had a DNF, he just had so many more wins that all my seconds and thirds couldn't accumulate that point difference. He was winning heat races and stuff too. And he was just a tough competitor. I think he ended up beating us by like 7, 11 points, somewhere around there. And I mean, it would have been cool to win one in that, and then knowing what we know now, end up getting one in the sprint cars too, but it didn't happen. So second points in street stocks and what we were racing against, I was pretty happy with that. And home built car and what we accomplished in 4 years, winning races at Lernerville, Marion Center, before we moved up to sprint cars, I think we made the right choice at the right time.
So that decision to switch over to sprint cars, obviously everyone likes to go fast and everything like that, but that was somewhat financial as well. I mean, you're not beating out body panels anymore on a pro stock on a weekly basis. If you do wreck, you wreck it good in a sprint car.
Yeah, my dad and I just had this conversation. We were working on the race car this past weekend, and we were making fun of the East Bay late model guys that were just down there just destroying stuff. I mean, it's the first race week of the year, and I mean, there's body panels ripped off of cars, and I'm just watching it, just thankful to the Lord that I did not decide to go late model racing like I wanted to. I mean, the amount of Zeus buttons they go through a year, the sheets of aluminum they go through a year, we just don't have that kind of time. I don't know how they do or what they pay their crew members, but man, do they go through a lot of aluminum. We had the same issue when we were running street stocks and stuff. And I know at the end of 2013, we counted the Zeus, or not the Zeus buttons, but the rivets in our right side door on the street stock. There was like 138 just because of all the repairs we had throughout the entire year, just rubbing up against people, tires blowing out, getting involved in accidents. And it's cheaper to replace 136 rivets than it is to buy a whole new sheet of aluminum and make another door. So just the way it goes. But my dad obviously wanted me to run modifieds. I wanted to run late models. But financially, with the way the sprint cars are, it's just there's a lot more money to win in this area. Sprint cars are still open wheel, so my dad was willing to work on those and not late models. And to be fair, I think you can win around here, especially around Western PA. You can definitely win in a sprint car with a lot less money than you can do in a late model or a modified. So I think we made the right choice.
Yeah, I would say it paid off. I mean, 4-track championships at a track like Lernerville is nothing to shake your head at. And now that you're kind of, you took the first few years of a sprint car and, obviously race at Lernerville and stuff, but now you've kind of grown a little bit more comfortable and you started to kind of spread out. And now you're heading east for shows, and talking about Port Royal basically is where you've made your Saturday night home track. What's it like racing out there in comparison to racing out here in Western PA?
Man, just different atmosphere, different everything. I mean, you're running against a heck of a lot more money. The drivers are so talented throughout the entire field. I don't want to say they drive reckless, but they're extremely aggressive. Everybody wants to win. You can just, I don't want to even say there's tension, but you can just feel how strong everybody's desire is to get to victory lane. Everybody's friends on and off the racetrack, it seems like, but at the same time too, they're not going to cut you any slack either. You're racing against a heck of a lot more experience, and from somebody in my position, you have to be perfect. If you're not, then you don't stand not much of a chance of winning. I mean, I don't think I have the talent level or the money level that some of those guys out there do. So if we're off even by a little bit and I can't cover it up, then we're going to be behind the 8 ball. And everybody's so good that so much of that luck also falls into your hands. If you can't start in the first couple rows and you're up there against Danny Dietrich, Logan Wagner, Lance DeWise, Anthony Macri, how are you going to pass those guys? I mean, you can't, if you're starting behind all 4 of them, you can't expect all 4 to be off. There's at least going to be one that's good, and it's going to be almost impossible to get him unless you can just figure out a way to outdrive him, have a better car, maybe catch some luck in lap traffic, or he has a mechanical failure. So there's so much that goes into it. Whereas when you're running out in Western PA here, you can start a little bit further back, maybe not having many cautions break your way, and still have the ability to get up through the front just because of the speed difference and the way the tracks are laid out. It's not so aero dependent.
Yeah, and that's not a knock on Western PA drivers or tracks by any means. It's just so hard to describe. Like you said, the atmosphere. It's just completely different out there. The money that's out there and how it's gotten out there, and it hasn't seemed to kind of get over this way on this side of the state as much. So it's not a knock on the drivers by any means. It's just like you said, it's just a different atmosphere.
Yeah, I mean, I think that in an older time, back before I was born and even when I was younger, the Western PA circuit was extremely potent. We had incredible drivers, big money following us back then, but it just seemed like the Western PA area didn't stick with the times, whether it be the tracks, the drivers, the sponsors fell off, whatever it may be. And we kind of lagged behind when everybody else seemed to progress, whether it was Ohio and Central PA. So over the course of 20, 30 some years, it got to the point where you got Ohio and then they have Central PA, and they kind of forget there's a little racing community here in Western Pennsylvania. And I mean, yeah, you're absolutely right. I mean, there's a lot of talented drivers in Western PA with great cars, great partners, things like that. But it's like you said, it doesn't seem, we just don't have the ability yet as a Western PA sprint car community to be nationally known to go in there, beat outlaws, beat all stars like what the Central PA guys can.
I did want to touch on your big win over in Port Royal, but this is a perfect transition into something that's becoming very progressive here in Western PA, and that is, of course, the Western Pennsylvania Sprint Speed Weeks that was just recently announced. You just told me before the interview, really haven't had a chance to really talk to anybody about it or any media about it, so I kind of want to get your standpoint on this. Obviously, it's a big deal. A lot of money, especially for Western PA, a lot of money, 5 nights of racing. It's going to be tough for you, though, because you've pretty much made it a Saturday night, like I said, a Saturday night regular at Port Royal. So I guess it's really just going to come down to where you're at in points, where you're standing, and if all the stars align, maybe making all 5 nights. But there's a chance where you might not be able to.
Yeah, I mean, first and foremost, I want to give a shout out to Tyler Beichner. I think it's Beichner, if not Bachner, yeah. But I think it's Beichner. So Tyler, if you're watching this, congratulations. You've done amazing work on this Western PA Speed Week. And I think I told you on Twitter, but what you're doing now has huge potential and implications for the future of Western PA sprint car racing. So seriously, thank you for what you're doing, and please don't quit on it. But to answer your question, Tyler Harris, in regards to the Western PA Speed Week, we've discussed it as a crew and a house, family, whatever, about what we'll do come that week. And I mean, when it comes down to it, this is just me being humbly honest. The pay for the Western PA Speed Week shows, it's great for Western PA, but it's still average or below average compared to what you would get running Central Pennsylvania, any sort of traveling shows, things like that. But now on the flip side of that, I have to be considerate and understand that this is relatively new because it's coming back for Western PA. So we're taking baby steps. And at the same time, this is fantastic that we get to run for basically $15,000 to win over the course of 5 days. So I definitely want to make sure that that gets recognized because that's a huge step for the Western PA area. When we decide how we're going to approach this, I mean, I figure that we'll shoot for Wednesday, Thursday, Friday, Mercer, Thunder Mountain, Lernerville. And then after we end the show Friday night at Lernerville, we'll kind of examine where we're at and go from there. I still want to see what the total point fund's going to be. If it's a good point fund, then it's hard to vote against going to the Saturday show at Sharon, knowing we've have had good success there, and then back it up by going to Sunday at Tri-City. So we'll take that into account if we get a final purse for that, for points. I mean, if we're totally out of the points anyway, just bad results, wrecks, whatever it may be, we'll probably end up going to Port Royal anyway, because no matter what, the Port Royal pay is still better than the Saturday PA Speed Week show. And not only just to win, but also down through the field. And for us, where we live in Apollo, it's only an hour difference either way travel wise. So realistically, it's not that big of a deal to worry about when you're discussing logistics for us. And then the last option we'll take into effect as well is probably weather. I mean, if it's going to pour in central Pennsylvania, but it's going to be sunny in Ohio, then that'll make a decision, and vice versa. I mean, you guys have been around the weather long enough too. Those tracks are about 5-6 hours apart, and that's enough to change an entire day of racing. So those are probably the ideas that we'll look for. And I'll make that decision Saturday night, and wherever we show up, whether it's Port Royal or Sharon, I know we're going to try and win there like we always do. So.
Yeah, absolutely. It's like you said, it's baby steps. You know, you gotta start somewhere. It's just unfortunate that that Speed Week was I think it was like the last time it was around is probably early 2000s, if it wasn't 2000 itself. And like you said, it's baby steps and it's progress, and it's what we as sprint fans and just race fans in general in Western PA want to see is just some sort of progress, steps in the right direction. And like you said, thank you, Tyler, for doing what you're doing, and stick with it. Schaefer Oil just signed on as the presenting sponsor for the week. That is a nice sponsor to have.
Bova Excavating as well.
Yeah, Bova Excavating just signed on, I think, as of like 2 days ago or a day ago. That was really recent as of this recording, of course. So yeah, definitely good signs coming, and I would love to see this thing grow, and I think it will. I think with the amount of desire there has been in this area for that long, it's just a matter of time and a matter of persistence most of all, and just continuing just to push for it. And I just hope the fans receive it well. We don't criticize it. because I feel like race fans sometimes can be our own worst enemies, and sometimes, I don't want to say do more harm than good, but we can definitely shed bad light where it doesn't belong.
Yeah,
When
you're
there's
100% correct.
Yeah, when there's definitely a lot of things going on behind the scenes that a lot of people don't see, or don't understand sometimes, that are prohibiting certain things from happening the way that they think should happen. I can ramble on about this for hours, and we could talk about this for hours too. I guess it's the old story of how to fix racing. We could be here
Yep.
for hours and never come up with a solution.
I for sure want to give a shout out to Mercer Speedway and Thunder Mountain Speedway. I mean, they're going out on a limb here to take the Wednesday shows and the Thursday shows, and I think they'll get the cars because they are putting up some money. Plus, the purse fund will be there. But I do also hope they'll get the fans as well. I mean, obviously, if the tracks don't get the fans, it's not going to be worth it for them. They won't come on board next year too. So I hope the weather plays out for them. I guarantee there's no sort of sanctioning fee that they have to worry about. So that's at least a good thing. But I hope they get the fans. I hope the weather works out for them. I hope we get a good amount of cars. And I just hope we put on some good racing, and you can see the races too. That's going to be important for the fans as well. So
Yeah, yeah, and to have that ability to kind of go. I mean, and then I guess if you compare it to Central PA Speed Week, I mean, goodness gracious, 10 races out there this year. It's insane.
yep.
But I tell you what, I'm thrilled with five. I'm thrilled with five, and I think a lot of people are too. So
Yeah, and that's what I meant earlier when it comes to the pay and whatnot, just back and forth. I mean, the Central PA, you've got 10 races in a row at premier racetracks that are all like $7,000 to win or more. But that's what I also meant. Like, I know what area we're in, and we have to be respectful of that to a degree, and also understand that we are just getting back into this. So huge props to every speedway that's participating. Huge props to all the people, all the sponsors that are involved. We'll do everything we can to represent it as well. And let's have a good, successful first year. And I know if we have a good first year, Tyler's going to do everything he can to keep it going. So what he's done has been a huge start, and hopefully it's a breath of fresh air for everybody in this area, and we can keep building. There's no questions asked that the sprint car community at least over the past 8 years that I've been involved, has taken huge steps from where it was when I first joined. We have new racetracks on board. Sharon's running more often. Tri-City's back on board. Lernerville's pay has increased. We're getting more cars than we were the past couple of years. Mercer still has some shows. PPMS has some shows. Thunder Mountain brought us on board. So those are all really good steps in the right direction. And this is another step to keep it going.
Yep, I agree. I completely agree. Fans, if you're just tuning in, we are speaking with four-time Lernerville track champion, AJ Flick, and we're just kind of talking about what's going on with Western PA Speed Week, but we're going to go ahead and transition into your time at Port Royal, because I think it's very notable, especially in 2019. I would probably say a career highlight, and I'm sure you might agree, but you might differ, I don't know, was whenever you won that dream race. Man, you talk about previously how, sometimes all the things just have to align just right. The car has to be perfect. You got to be in perfect positioning. Luck always has something to do with it. But man, all the stars seemed to align that night, and you found yourself in victory lane at Port Royal Speedway.
Yeah, I mean, luck 100%, so much to do with it. We had a horrible pill draw, but luckily the track stayed in good enough condition that we went out to qualify. We were able to catch the invert, start up front for the semi race, win that. And then we got a decent pill draw to start top three, actually third for the dream race. We lost a couple spots at the beginning, but TJ Stutz spun out, so we were able to grab a free spot off that. And then as we were running down Jared Esch, we had a red flag. He had a tire going down, so that probably helped us a little bit too. And we were just good enough to hold off some of the better guys behind us. So that was definitely a career highlight. It's a shame that was 2 years ago, and I don't have anything else to back that for right now. Hopefully that changes here. Hopefully this year or even next year. But I just want to keep adding more wins to the total. And maybe I can just say at some point the dream was the first one of many.
Yeah. I mean, that's definitely a good way to look at it. I would say just to watch your progress throughout the years has been fun. And winning out there is tough. I mean, there's no doubt about it. It's tough. So when you're able to pull it off, it's definitely notable. So we talked about the high, 2020. Let's talk about it. What are your thoughts on your 2020? Do you think it was successful in a sense? I mean, you got a Lernerville track championship. Again, nothing to nod your head at. Four-time track champion. That's phenomenal. But let's talk about 2020. I'm thinking of a certain thing in particular that wasn't so good. that happened at Port, but let's let's just talk about the rest of the season. Overall, 2020. What would you say? About it. Good things, bad things, in between. You talk about it.
Well, the optimist in me wants to say that, hey, we at least got to race during COVID. So I think that made immediately a successful season. All the racetracks got together and, everybody, Williams Grove, Lincoln, Lernerville, Tri-City, Port Royal, Baps, Mercer, they all got good shows in. That was all Pennsylvania. I know Sharon got limited, but that was Ohio too, under a little bit different rules. So I think it was successful there that we at least got to race. We started pretty slow. I was a top 5 car on average at Lernerville, which isn't nothing to nod your head about, but obviously we expect a little more than that weekly. We were okay at Sharon, but we were getting beat by a lot of good guys like Lee Jacobs, Tim Schaefer. He was there kicking everybody's butt the first couple of weeks. Had a couple of DNFs to start the season. And then Port Royal, we were just below average. When we came back home locally for Western PA, we kind of got on a hot run where we won 3 in a row at Lernerville. We picked up our first ever win at Tri-City. We were consistent pretty much everywhere we went, but for some reason, we just couldn't find any speed at Port again. And it put us in positions where we didn't want to be in, ended up losing a race car out of it, cost us a lot of money. We weren't able to basically make any of the big shows. We were struggling qualifying, which is stuff that we've never had issues with before out there. And that was probably the biggest part that bothered us, is simply because everything that we struggled with this year, we were successful with last year using the same exact equipment. So that's probably been the worst part. It's not like we've changed anything where we can say, oh, that's where we struggled. We literally started the year and ran this year with the same exact stuff that we ran last year with. And for some reason this year it didn't work. And to this day now, I still don't know what the problem is. And it frustrates the heck out of me, but there's nothing I can do about it besides try and figure out where we can go from there. And it'd be awesome if we had the money, we can go out and test all the time and try a different bunch of setups and rent out speedways and stuff like that. But that's just not the way we've ever done things. So basically we have to use every Saturday night and Friday night as a test session. And the worst part about it is if we don't hit it right, or if we don't learn something, then we lose money and we have to wait and come back and do it again next week. So that's the way last year worked for us. We just weren't good. We were there, but we weren't competitive, and we were just a typical top 15 car consistently. We ran 6th to 13th pretty much every single week, and we could never break out of that bubble. I've got some ideas on how to try and progress this upcoming year, but I had some ideas on how to do it last year too. And if we can't seem to hit the nail on the head, then we gotta put our thinking caps on. I don't want to go through another year of scratching my brain every Friday night. So we'll get it figured out.
You obviously have to have some people out there that you talk to mull things over with. Danny Dreitrich, I know, has been one of the guys that you've gotten to talk to, and all those guys are just a plethora of knowledge out there. Who are some of the guys that you typically lean on to pick their brain? Maybe not even for necessarily stuff out there, but just in general for just a car as it is.
I usually don't lean on drivers that much. It's tough to answer that question because there's a lot of drivers that will help you, but there's no drivers that will tell you everything. Right. So you'll get 2 pieces of the puzzle, but you're still left trying to figure out 98 pieces. And if you don't know those 98 pieces, then the 2 that he gave you aren't going to help you at all. And that's the issue we ran into a ton when we first started, because I was trying to soak in and use as much knowledge and information as I could from as many people as I could, whether it was crew chiefs, chassis builders, drivers, but it didn't matter what I learned because I am different than all of them. So I was able to take that knowledge, and if I used it, I was able to figure out whether it worked or not, but it didn't help me progress until I started learning enough that I could start putting the pieces to the puzzle together myself. And I tell that to any young driver or any driver that comes to me for any advice. I'll tell them everything I can, but I always end the conversation with, listen, guys, you are your own driver. This might not work for you. And I didn't realize that when I first started. I thought that every sprint car, you're going to have to set it up the same. It's going to work the same. And then it wasn't until I started racing against some of these guys and learning their tendencies and how they drive, where they let off, how hard they get on the gas, how easy they are on the gas, how much they ride the brake, that man, they do have a ton of different driving styles, and you absolutely have to have the car set up differently for those. So, I mean, I'll talk to drivers typically to get some sort of driving advice, not usually car setup advice, but driving advice. And then I'll talk to my buddy Phil Long. He's been around the sport forever. My dad and I learn a lot together with my uncle. So we've been going back and forth, and every now and then us three will come up with some pretty cool new ideas to try out. And I mean, usually we're wrong, but at least we're trying something. So there's been a few times where all three of us have hit on some cool ideas, and we go from there. Most of my setup stuff will come from just reading and talking to chassis builders and engineers, things of that nature, and just try and learn. I mean, no matter what, even if somebody's wrong, advice is advice, and you don't have to argue with them when they're talking to you. Just store it away, and after you're done listening, then you can make the decision on your own whether or not you want to continue forward with that and give it a shot or not. But I think everybody has something that's valuable to listen to, and then after that's done, you can just decide if you want to listen or if you want to take that knowledge into consideration or not.
It's a good perspective. It's something that I guess we just think, the drivers for the most part are all kind of, it is some sort of a brotherhood, I would imagine, where, you guys kind of look out for each other. You guys trust each other, out there. You have to. You at least, I don't know, maybe you don't. Maybe you could answer that a little bit better.
Well, to be fair, too, there's a lot of drivers, too, that don't know what the car setup is. And I've known that just from talking to a few guys and stories I've heard, too. So you definitely have to consider who you're speaking with, because a lot of the people, that's why I always looked up to Dietrich, Greg Hodnett, those guys, Stevie Smith, even Freddie Raymer's the same way. Those are just some of the guys quick off the top of my head. Those guys are in depth, extremely knowledgeable. They know how their cars work. They know what setups they're putting in the car. They've been around it for years. So I always looked up to those guys. I always wanted to talk to them, just kind of learn. And that's when they were able to kind of help me establish what kind of feel I have as a driver, and then what I can look for, because that's a very hard part of driving race cars. Is you can know what a race car does, you can feel it, and you can know how to change a car with setup, but you don't know how it feels after you change it. And putting those two pieces on how it feels and how to change it together is one of the hardest parts in racing. And there's a lot of times where you do something to change a car and it does the opposite of what you're thinking it'll do. Whether it be because of the wing, whether it be because of dirty air, whether it be because the fuel load burns off so quickly. There's so many things you need to take into account. The tires change so much, whether people gain or lose stagger, if your bleeders get stuck and you gain or lose air pressure. There's so many things to it. If a bar goes bad, if a shock goes bad, things like that. And if you don't catch that stuff when you do have failures with it, then you might totally think that whatever setup you did was wrong, when in reality, your setup might have been right, but something else on the car went bad. So there's so much you have to look into. And to answer your question about the drivers, we race against a lot of very aggressive drivers, a lot of very conservative drivers. And I just tweeted out too, that's why I respect Donnie Schatz so much. I've never seen one driver win so much by being so clean. And there's so many drivers out there that drive beyond aggressive, a ton of slide jobs. Sometimes they're very close. Even I'm one of them. I won't shy away from that. I've made mistakes before too, but I'd love to some point reach that day where my car's good. I'm good enough that I can just roll the middle in the slick and drive by somebody that's pounding the fence down and puncturing holes in their tires and damaging the bottom half of the wing over there. So it'd be nice to win big races without risking your race car like that.
Yeah, and the first one that comes to mind there is Lance DeWise. If you watch any race on Flow Racing from Port Royal on a weekly basis, when he shows up, or anywhere he really shows up, that guy can run anywhere on that racetrack. He doesn't have to run you over to do it, and he's always consistently fast. That's how he's been his entire career. And it's almost like poetry in motion in a way to watch him race. It's truly cool to watch guys like that, and then you watch some guys like. You could almost say Larson is almost the same way, but he's aggressive, but he's a clean aggressive. It's really cool just to see the different driving styles like you mentioned and different drivers. And like I said, Flow Racing has been pretty awesome to have a subscription to and watch. You really get to see different drivers, different racetracks, and yeah, like you said, just the different driving styles and just different tendencies. You get it's easy to see it once in a while when you get the chance to grow out that way or get to see them in person. But when you get to see it on a more consistent basis, like you do, essentially, because you get to go travel more and you get to race against those guys more often than we, as fans in Western PA, get to see. It's just cool to see the different perspectives every which way they can be.
When we destroyed that car in the Tusky race last year, obviously we were eliminated from contention in the B main. So I went up and sat with friends to watch the Tusky 50. And I think Lance might have started on the pole or outside pole, but he took off and he was leading, just running right through the middle of the track. And I mean, Anthony Macri was up there pounding the top. Larson was pounding the top, trying to come up through the field. Rico Abreu was up there pounding the top. I mean, they're all kissing the fence with the right rear and trying to run Lance down, driving as hard as they can. And I'm not saying Lance wasn't driving as hard as he could, but man, he did not look like he was driving hard. He was just rolling right through the middle. The car looked like it was working. And even Rico passed Lance at one point. It might have been through lap traffic, but Rico's up there risking life and limb and car just to try and keep a lead in one of the biggest races of the year, which is totally fine. But then you got Lance, who is literally right on Rico's tail, just rolling through the middle. And I told everybody around me, I was like, Lance is going to win this race. I said, just give it time. And you can tell his car's straight. He's not burning tires off of it. He's not spinning like what Rico was. It's a 50-lap race. Lance knew what he was doing. And sure enough, Lance DeWise wins Tuscarora 50. It's the way it goes.
Yeah, yeah, that's exactly it. When you're driving aggressive like that, especially on that at Port, whenever that line is basically on the fence, the tires become an option. It's become an issue pretty quickly. And like you said, Lance running through the middle like that, he has this way of running that low side middle that not too many people can really duplicate. So yeah, it's pretty cool. Let's switch gears up to something different. Again, if you're just tuning in, we're speaking with AJ Flick, 2020 track champion at Lernerville Speedway. Let's look into 2021 a little bit. Obviously, I'd imagine you're probably going to run Lernerville Friday nights. That's probably going to be your schedule. What else are you looking forward to this year coming up, other than PA Speedweeks? Are you still planning to run Saturday nights at Port Royal, or what races on the schedule coming up have your eye, and what are you trying to focus on a little bit?
Well, I'm definitely looking forward to having a whole year to race. That should be pretty cool, not having to start in late May because of COVID. So I think our schedule is going to look very similar to what we had been running the past 2 years, try and get as many Lernerville shows as we can, the All-Star, the Outlaw shows. We'll try and run the Port Royal every Saturday that we can. I'll be happy that they don't have as many Wednesday shows, but I have to try and figure out how to get off of work to make. I'm excited to get back to Path Valley again this year. They got one race like June 20 something, I think. It might be partnered with Macri Concrete. So that's one of my favorite racetracks to run a 410 sprint on. I'm excited to get back to that. Obviously, Western PA Speedweek, try and run some PA Speedweek shows for Central PA. And I don't know what shows we'll get to, at least the Port shows, try and run the Sillings Grove show. It'd be cool if we can get to something else. I saw Baps just added the Sunday portion to that race. So there's a lot going. I mean, a lot of it's dependent on how good we're running. I can't risk wasting money going to big races if I know we're not going to be competitive. So no matter what, I still have to race with my head because obviously I don't have $1 million to do this with. So I can't risk money foolishly if I want to continue racing. Ultimately, we'll just try and do the best we can locally to help fund our trips out east. And I'm excited to get back to Sharon quite a few times this year. I think we only ran there once before they got shut down for COVID. So Sharon's one of my best, not my best tracks, but one of my favorite tracks to try and learn on. So the track always gets pretty slick, and it'll be exciting to try and get back there and keep learning.
So you talk about money. Obviously, that's pretty much the big thing in racing. So with money, obviously, comes sponsorships, people that help you guys on the car and stuff like that. Not only just your crew, but your sponsors. Let's talk about a few of your sponsors. You've got quite a bit on the car. The car is always sharp every single year. Sponsors got to be happy about that because their name looks good on that car. Let's talk about some of your sponsors and some of those people that help you out on a yearly basis. And if you have any new sponsors for this season coming up, definitely talk about them. And yeah, this just people that just help you out on the car every week.
Yeah, I mean, sadly, I don't know if I have any new partners this year. I've been kind of slacking on that end, and everything's been so weird because of the COVID situation that you have to approach partnerships so much differently now than I did 2 years ago or even a year ago before this happened. So I've tried to be real considerate on what their finances are like and how hard they were hit due to the epidemic. I still want to bring people on board and show them what I can do to help funnel business to their company. But at the same time, too, even if they're interested, if they don't have the funds for it, they just can't do it. So I'm talking to a few people. Hopefully something works out there. If not, I'll at least have my foot in the door. We can maybe make something happen in the future. Pretty much everybody's back on board from last year, though. So at least we helped remain a bit status quo. And I do appreciate that from those guys. I mean, all these partners have been with us for a long time. Ferguson Heating and Air Conditioning, Fence by Maintenance Service, Trinity Construction, Red Robin Gourmet Burgers is coming back on board, so I can't wait to support them and eat their food in Central PA. JD Byrider, like I said, Trinity Construction, Stanford's Glass Service, Johnny Carpet. We just have really good people behind us. They're all really good friends of mine. We basically become this big old family together. A lot of them are local for me as well, too, so I can go see them if I have any time off, deliver some sort of gifts, kind of keep them updated with what kind of successes we've had throughout the year, too. And they understand what the racing side is like for me as well, too. So it was nice that we were able to have some success and still bring some attention to their companies last year, even though they were going through a little bit of financial hardships due to the epidemic.
Yeah, I can't imagine being a business owner through this past year. It's just I can't imagine just the sheer amount of families and people that don't own businesses just really had it rough. I can confidently say I'm blessed and avoided a lot of the difficulties, and not everybody can say the same. And it's tough. It's definitely very tough, and I feel for those businesses. I feel for those people. Fortunately, I can say now that I kind of think we can see the light at the end of the tunnel with the vaccine coming out. Whether your position, whoever's position is on that, I think we can all kind of start to see the light at the end of the tunnel. At least I hope. That's all we can do is hope.
Yeah.
But that's one thing that you mentioned, though. You said one word in particular in that answer there that really stood out to me, and that's family. I feel like sponsorships, when it comes to race teams, isn't necessarily a partnership. It should be more of a family. There should be definitely more than just an exchange of money and a hi, how you doing here and there kind of thing. That's one thing, and I don't want to pat you on the back too hard here, but that's one thing that you definitely do on social media that stands out to me is you definitely make it known who your sponsors are, and you try to help them as much as you possibly can. And I feel like that's something that if you're a younger racer that is trying to earn sponsorships and earn the trust of these companies that want to put their name on your car, that they can kind of take a page out of your notebook there and see what you do for some of those companies. I constantly scroll through my Facebook feed and see like Johnny Carpet, Red Robin. You're always eating at Red Robin Burger somewhere.
It's good.
Red Robin is definitely good. Come on now.
The best part about that is I ate at Red Robin all the time before they were even partners. So that was just a totally amazing coincidence and blessing. And now I can literally eat there all the time as much as I want. I get so much of the same food every time I go in because I can't ever get sick of it. And it's easy because I can just take a picture every time I go. And I'm enjoying another gourmet double cheeseburger. So the one thing I can tell you guys is if you go to get a gourmet cheeseburger, do not add a third patty. It's like 2.5 pounds. I don't even know how much it was. It was like a pound and a half. I'll have to ask Chris again. But I ended up, they didn't screw up, but I said it wrong how I wanted my patties done. And I ended up getting extremely thick triple patties, and oh my God, I was so full. I could barely even eat it all. I didn't even get to touch the fries because of how much burger there was.
Now, you didn't happen to do that before a race night, did you?
At Sealings Grove, I did. Yeah. Luckily, though, we ate at 3 o'clock. I never ate a thing the rest of the night.
I just see disaster. You know what I mean? You're wearing a race suit, a lot of food,
At a very fast
at a
racetrack,
very
yes,
fast
sir.
racetrack. Yeah, God forbid something go wrong. No, definitely. So, are you when it comes to your French fries at Red Robin Burgers? Are you a just a standard French fry, steak fry? Or are you a sweet potato fry? Do you get the side of broccoli instead? What do you go for?
Good question. It depends how I'm feeling. If I go out just for a normal night of eating, I'll usually end up with the steak fries.
Hmm.
But when it comes to race nights, I just feel like I if I eat healthier on race nights, I do better. So I'll usually end up with the broccoli or the side salad because no matter what, Red Robin always gives you free refills on anything, whether it be the side salad, the broccoli, or the steak fries. So um, the other thing we do too, I always go out with Ashley, my girlfriend, and we end up getting a stack of onion rings. And
Yep.
then she's obsessed with the campfire sauce too.
Yep.
So we always have the campfire sauce for the steak fries, and she always end up getting the pub mac and cheese. And I forget what the drink is, but she always gets the strawberry drink, and
With
she's just obsessed with that. She'll always get one or two to go.
the weird glass.
Yeah, weird glass, and it has the strawberries inside it, and she'll just sit there with a fork and just pick out the strawberries and just eat them. Every time she eats one, rolls her eyes in the back of her head, orders some more. I was like, okay.
Red Robin, if you're watching this, we accept sponsors. Shameless plugs all around. Um,
I've taken Red Robin fries to the racetrack before, and before I even get back to my trailer, they're empty.
yeah, yeah. I tell you what, too, if you got an air fryer at home, you take them bad boys home because you can just take some home with you.
Uh-huh.
You air fry up some reheated Red Robin fries. Just feels like you just got it right out of the restaurant. Can't go
Cheap
wrong.
leftovers, real good.
Tell you what, too, another pro tip. As long as you buy the most expensive, like, French fry upgrade, so, like, if you upgrade to the sweet potato fries, I think is the most expensive one, you can switch out on your refill with any other one. So, like, if you get sweet potato fries, but then you want to go with steak fries on your refill, you can get steak fries. And then if you want to go to, like a house salad, you can switch over to a house salad after that. Like, as long as you buy the most expensive one, you can just
And then work your way down.
so I mean, your options are endless at that point. You can get a little bit of everything. Just be thrilled.
I got to find some sort of beverage company to bring on board now, like a Dr. Pepper or anything like that. So now I can have Dr. Pepper with my Red Robin all the time. That'd be a pretty cool combination.
Just throw them at your at mentions. Just start tagging them. Coke, Pepsi,
Any,
Dr Pepper.
hey, every time I go to Red Robin, I get a Dr. Pepper.
There you go, Dr Pepper. So another thing too, talking about Twitter. Your Twitter handle is complete chaos too, which is I think that was your gamer tag from back in the day when you were in high school, right?
Way back when, yep.
Yeah.
Very first time I got a PlayStation 3, I think it was.
Okay.
We were trying to figure out what kind of gamer tag I should use, and that's what we ended up figuring out on a game of Modern Warfare 2 on Call of Duty, and I've
Yes,
had it for the past 12 years.
that's the best one there was, hands down. No
It
doubt about
absolutely
it.
was.
Yeah, definitely. I can remember those days coming home from high school, Xbox 360. As soon as
Yep.
I get home, I didn't get off that old. I got off to eat and then get back on, and then that
Quick
was it.
scoping on High Rise and Wasteland
Now
and
you're talking.
Favela. Yep. The intervention. Oh, good times. There's a lot of times I wish I could go back to those days and just kind of relive them.
Tell you, you don't know what you're missing until it's gone, and it's just like there
Literally.
was there was a day in your life where it was your last day of doing that, and you never realized it. And you're
Uh huh.
like, oh man,
I've read that all the time because all my friends used to play too. And Zach, Nick, Alex, Matt Fisher, all those guys, all my friends I used to have in high school. And I've thought of that a long time before too. I mean, I never knew when the last time was that I was going to party up with all six of those guys and play my last game with them. So, I mean, life comes at you fast, kids.
that it does. I used to play street hockey too in high school with all my friends, and there was a time where that was the last game that we ever played together, and everyone like moved away and stopped playing and got old, and I
Yep.
got I got fat, and that was the end of that.
I still try to play, but I only get like one season in. I usually get like a month and a half of hockey in when it comes time to play for the off season. And COVID kind of pushed that back this year too. So my last season ended like mid-January, but after that was done, the team I was playing disbanded because not enough people could come back, and I couldn't find another team to get on. So, I mean, it's February 1st right now, and for me to try and get another season, I wouldn't be able to complete it before racing starts in March, so I might be done with hockey for the year.
Yeah.
Sucks, but just the way it is.
That's it. That's it. So going back to, I was kind of getting somewhere too before Modern Warfare 2 got brought up. That your Twitter handle. So whenever we're watching, and kind of going back to Flow Racing too, whenever I'm watching broadcast on there, the announcers there call you the Super Deuce AJ Flick. And then over here you're known as Complete Chaos. So which one is it? Is it both? Do you have a preference?
Man, I don't know. I mean, I've been called a lot of names. I know Mike Dutko called me Captain Chaos one time. Everybody would call me Complete Chaos because of the username, but it's odd because I'm not always Complete Chaos. Like, I'm usually in control, so it's kind of an odd nickname to a degree. There's times I'm out of control, no questions asked. But Super Deuce is unique. I've never heard anybody called Super Deuce before. They've said the deuce is on the loose, which is pretty cool, and hopefully I can get that put on a shirt sometime. So I don't know. Maybe I'll win an outlaw race and Johnny Gibson will give me a nickname. So
there you go. Hey, if Johnny Gibson gives you a nickname, I think that's pretty much, hook, line, and sinker. That's the one.
Might have to run with it at that point.
Yeah. So another thing is when you talk about Chaos, do you still put the logo of Professor Chaos from South Park on your cars every year?
Yeah. Butters in his Professor Chaos outfit. South Park's one of my favorite shows ever. I watched a ton of it in college, got me through some of the tough times, and just the laughs that I would listen to back then, and Complete Chaos and compare it with Professor Chaos. I always thought it was really funny, so I just always have a little butter sticker in there, and always gives people a laugh as they're going by and they see Professor Chaos on the side of the race car, especially if they know what either my nickname or my usernames are for all my social media handles.
Yeah. So let's talk about that too. Social media, obviously, you're on Facebook, AJ Flick Racing, Twitter, Complete Chaos 2. Any other ones that you want to plug?
Instagram's Complete Chaos 2 as well, and then I think YouTube might be as well. I always upload my videos to YouTube. Honestly, it's more for me than it is for anybody else. But I mean, there's a lot of people that really enjoy watching those videos, so I put them up. But I think there's some videos on there that have 900 views, and I'm about 850 of them. So I watch all the time. I try and learn as much as I can from it, where I made mistakes, where I can get better, driver's tendencies, things like that. I don't know if there's any other social media handles, nothing I really pay attention to. So the three main ones, definitely Twitter, Instagram, and Facebook. I definitely don't get into the whole TikTok thing that much. So
tell you what, it's all the rage from what I hear. I don't know.
It is. I don't think I have the body for it though.
Nah, me either. I have one, but I couldn't tell you how to use it. That's beyond me. The only reason why I got one was when my wife sends me links to watch certain ones, and usually it's about dogs doing something cute. She wants a dog, but we can't have a dog in our apartment, so she feels the need to send them to me, and I watch them, of course, but beyond that, couldn't tell you how to use it.
We do the same thing with Facebook videos. We'll send them over Messenger.
That's it.
There's a dog eating snowflakes. All right, here it is. I'll send it to you.
Well, AJ, I've taken up a ton of your time, and I do appreciate your time. Let's talk about real quick, people that you'd like to thank. Obviously, other than sponsors, there's a lot of people on your crew that help out each week, and fans and stuff like that you might want to mention. So I definitely want you to have the chance to mention them. As much as you love your father, I'm sure you want to, have the chance to thank him too, even though it might go to his head. I don't know.
Yeah, it's swelling up now.
Oh so my God, even just talking about him.
With his new mod light, if he wins even one race this year, I won't hear the end of it. So just the way he goes. But no, my father's been a huge inspiration for me. He's taught me a lot. He supported me endlessly, same as my mother as well. So those two, by far and none, the amount that they've sacrificed to let me be happy and let me have success, it's extremely important. And I'll never be able to repay them for what they did until maybe they get old and I push them around in wheelchairs and stuff all the time. So But at that point, that's when I'll start picking on my father again for everything he's done to me.
That's right.
I want to thank, I want to thank my uncle Doug, my aunt Kathy for all their support and everything that Doug does in the garage to help out. Rod Case and Amanda, Jordan Keebler and Bethany, Matt Allen, Mr. and Mrs. Ferguson, Nick and Alina, Dave and Debbie Hartman, Dan Hartman as well. They're all extremely special, huge supporters of me, willing to do anything that I ask just to try and help me out. I want to thank my girlfriend Ashley for all her support. She's always there at every race to try and make sure my head's in the game, always supporting me. If I make mistakes, she's willing to tell me, but also to help give me a bit more confidence so that I can get back out there and do it again. And I definitely wouldn't be here without her either. So it's like you said, I mean, there's a lot of drivers out there that have had success just being on their own, but most of the drivers have some sort of support, whether it be their sponsors, their family, friends. And that's what it comes down to. I mean, it wouldn't be as much fun to do it without the people we love.
Yeah. Yeah, I mean, it's definitely, especially with you two. Like I said, third generation driver. Racing's been in your blood, and your family's been surrounded by it. Your mom does so much with like the sales and stuff like that, the sales end of it, and you always see her at the racetrack, with the merchandise and stuff like that, T-shirts, hats, koozies, all that stuff. So
she gives me a load of BS about all the merch and stuff we bring in and sell, but I know she enjoys it too. It's funny just because the stuff that she's dealt with before with my father and the amount of merchandise he used to have is nothing compared to what we go through now. So she razzes me about it and says I better pay her better, but it's all in good fun and humor. And I told her that she can start saving up for a merchandise van now. We can put like $5 a week in for that, and maybe in the next 20 years she'll be able to buy a merchandise van.
Who knows? You might find a good deal on one someday. It's hard to say. There you go.
Since we have a quick minute too, I also want to thank my grandmother. I imagine I'll figure out a way to let her watch this video too. And she's the one that started it all with my grandfather, and I wouldn't be here without that. And I know that she would like to be at every race possible, and I know she watches all the videos I get made up. So Graham, thank you, love you, thank you for everything you guys have done to support me, you and Grandpa. I appreciate it, and every win is for you guys, and let's just trying to keep adding more to our totals here.
On that note, I was going to ask you a couple more questions, but on that note, that was great. So we'll wrap it up there. AJ Flick, thank you so much for your time. I appreciate it. We look forward to 2021, a full season of 2021 racing. Best of luck this year, and like we said, follow him on social media. He's on Facebook, AJ Flick Racing, Complete Chaos 2 on Twitter and Instagram. So AJ, thanks again. We'll catch up soon.
Thank you, Mr. Harris. I appreciate it. It's good to see what you guys are doing, and tell Dawn I said hi.
Will do. Thanks.
See you guys.